Hi everyone, this is Karen from the Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. In this video, we're going to head to Pottstown to talk about a local historic site up there. If you live in Pottstown, you have probably at some point driven by the Pottstown Roller Mill. The original structure was built roughly 1725, and according to the Pottstown Historical Society and other historical records, they're not 100% sure who first built this historic site. It's located near the mouth of the Manatawny Creek near the Schuylkill River. And today it's at the intersection of South and Hanover Streets. The original structure was made from random field stones found in the area, and they believe the original structure was roughly 2 stories high by 3 bays across and 2 bays deep. Based on the historical records found by the Pottstown Historical Society, they believe this structure is the oldest mill and the oldest manufacturing company in Pottstown. In fact, the Pottstown Roller Mill, the business itself as it evolved over time, still exists to this day, just not at that site. It is also believed to be one of the oldest grain mills in the state of Pennsylvania. It's unclear who first built the mill in 1725, but we do know it was owned by John Potts when he purchased roughly 1,000 acres in 1752. This land would eventually become known as Pottstown. In the 18th century, John Potts had the rights to the water surrounding this mill, and when he died, he accorded the water rights to the mill owners at that time. Since then, the mill continued to operate on water that was supplied by the mill race that had been owned previously by John Potts. The site is also notable in that it provided grain to the Continental Army while they were stationed at Valley Forge during the winter of 1777 and 1778. During the 18th and 19th century, grain milling industries provided a huge economic impact for Pottstown and the Tri-County area. By 1849, there were some alterations made to the site itself. There is a stone somewhere in the building that has 1849 written on it, to indicate that was a new addition to the building. By 1856, another addition was added. 2 brick stories were added to the original structure, and stucco was added around the exterior. At this time, the mill had been owned by Henry and Jacob H. Gable, and if you look at atlases from that time, you will see that the mill is identified as Gable's Mill. One of these atlases we do have at the Historical Society of Montgomery County. After the Gables owned that mill, it was passed on to Jesse Ives. According to Pine Forge Academy, Ives participated in the Underground Railroad and thus turned not only the mill but some of the sites around it into stops for runaway enslaved people to hide as they continued to make their way north. After Ives's death, there were several owners afterwards, and the building continued to grow, eventually doubling its size with a solid brick addition that was 5 bays across. By the 1850s, you saw a transition in Pottstown's economy. You had less of a focus on grain mills like this rolling mill, and you saw a transition to the iron industry, thanks in no small part to the Potts family. However, even though Pottstown became known for their iron, grain and flour still remained a vital part of the economy for roughly 200 years. Eventually, the mill no longer produced flour, but it did continue to grind corn for feed for several years. The mill was eventually enlarged again and converted into a rolling flour mill, and it wasn't until Hurricane Agnes in 1972 that the mill eventually closed. 2 years later, in 1974, the mill was added to the National Register of Historic Places. The building still stands today. It is no longer a mill, but the business, the Pottstown Roller Mill, still exists. Today it is on 625 Industrial Highway in Pottstown. If you like these videos, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be notified when a new video is released. The Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania is a private nonprofit library and museum located in Norristown, Pennsylvania. We rely on the support of our members, community members, volunteers, and viewers like you. Your support allows us to continue making these videos so we can make history fun and accessible to the public. If you would like to donate to help us continue making these videos, you can do so by clicking in the description section below. This link will take you to our main website where you can make a donation. Thank you all so much for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in a future video.